So basically, things are so fragile. So Olifants Nek. Alright, that's contemporary picture. This I took from a Life of a Regiment, which is the Gordon Highlanders. Alright?
Yeah.
So we're talking here the 21st of July.
Yeah.
You can remember Olifants Nek, 11th of July.
Yeah.
So Baden-Powell is here in Rustenburg. Olifants Nek, now 11th of July, the Boers have just taken Olifants Nek. Alright, so they're in control. The British, remember, arrived on the 2nd of August. So this is kind of in between there. Baden-Powell is sitting here in Rustenburg, and Baden-Powell gets orders from Roberts to go and help at Olifants Nek. Okay, Boers are now in charge of Olifants Nek, which is around the corner. Baden-Powell gets halfway there, and then what happens is the Boers now have taken over Rustenburg. So they've come and hoisted the field clear flag, and Roberts hears that and he says to Baden-Powell, no, forget about that, go back to Rustenburg, because we need Rustenburg, as Rietfontein hadn't then been established. All right, that was only on the 2nd of August.
Right.
So this was still a very big depot here, garrison here, supply depot for the whole of the Western Transvaal. Okay? Rustenburg, in between Mafeking and Pretoria, almost a dog leg.
Yeah.
Baden-Powell comes back here, and he's now in charge of Rustenburg, but the Boers now have got control over this neck. So the Boers have got control over this neck, the Boers have got control over Olifants Nek.
And that ridge there, that's the elephant, is it?
This one here is the elephant.
Okay, I'm looking at the wrong elephant.
Yes, this one here is the elephant from the other side, and as we go around the corner, it'll become a lot clearer.
Yeah, right, okay.
All right?
Yep.
So Methuen now gets ordered by Roberts to leave Krugersdorp and to come and take this pass, because they need a presence in this pass.
Yeah.
Right? B here is where the Boers are. So the Boers are all over these mountains here. Yeah. They guarding this pass. Baden-Powell sitting around the corner in Rustenburg.
Yeah.
Okay. Target for artillery. So the artillery is over here with the Gordon Highlanders, G, Shropshire Light Infantry, and they're shelling these hills here. And the Boers are kind of doing nothing. The Boers are hiding away, doing nothing. The British suffer 3 casualties in this, and the Boers are getting all their wagons through that port there. Yeah. And the Methuen is expecting Baden-Powell to cut them off, but Baden-Powell does nothing. Boers go through there, they scatter east and they scatter west, and that was the end of Olifants Nek. The only battle of Olifants Nek, which was really just a skirmish.
Yeah.
I've got a bit of a write-up from Johnny Boer in the notes that I've sent you. It's got nothing to do with this. It's just a guy writing home saying that there was a lot of activity here. The Boers kept on shooting at the British. We ran around the mountains here for a couple of months before we got taken away.
Yeah.
And the reason why they did that is once Rietfontein had been established as a base,
yeah,
Rustenburg became non-strategic.
Okay.
So can I hold it and you want to take a picture of it?
Yeah, I've been filming all along.
I have you. Let me.
I got it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So this is Olifants Nek, guys. Hence the presence of the Olifants. There's some more over there. There's 2 of them there, and then this one's psychedelic Olifant. Wow. That is the Olifants Nek there. Can you see the elephant? His trunk is coming down. That ridge, that's his trunk. That's his head, and that's his back. Is the skyline. A quote from Johnny Boer. New South Wales Imperial Bushmen lost 9 men at Ritquill, 3 of whom died of wounds. Trooper Jim Brown of F Company, New South Wales 1st Battalion, wrote to a friend, Mr. McLaren of Deniliquin, New South Wales, from Jacob Dahl on the 3rd of November 1900 to tell him of the disaster. Quote, "Since I wrote, we have had plenty of lash. In fact, every time on the march around Olifants Nek, which took us 8 weeks, we had a go of some kind. The Boers only made 2 real stands of it, and when they used their artillery on us the first time they shelled us, they only killed 1 man and some mules. On the second occasion they killed 3, wounded 11, killed 5 horses, and wounded and killed mules as well. There was only 1 squad in this area of Methuen column. We are his escort, and there are about 100 of us altogether. When the Boers start firing, the General always sends us ahead to draw the fire from the guns, and I tell you we generally do succeed in drawing it, and very strongly too. They are always on a ridge of some sort where they can easily retire, and they never get on the koppies where they can't ride, unless they get into trenches. We only get them in trenches when they used guns. They are roaming about here in mobs of 300 and 400, and it's marvellous how they get on for food, as we always capture their wagons. It's wonderful that they don't get many of us with their Mauser rifles, but the horses get hit, and mostly in places where the bullets do not hurt them. Of course, some are shot dead, and others have to be shot when badly wounded. My mare has been hit in 2 places, the first time in the ear, and a fortnight ago in the shoulder, and I'm still riding her."
The Nooitgedacht camp was at the base of that gully. You've got this hill in front of you,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's Nooitgedacht.
That's one of my, or at least top 10 places see the Battle of Nooitgedacht, which was where the, I think, was it Delaray said that he couldn't have chosen a better camp himself than for the British, if they're going to take a thrashing.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And the Boers were exhausted. I think they'd trekked through the night or something, so they didn't have enough strength to carry on and finish the job. But the British had to flee, taking heavy casualties. But yeah, if you can make out those antenna on top of that hilltop, that is Nooitgedacht, where the pickets were positioned, and yeah.
So on the left-hand side where those towers are, there were 3 pickets. On the right-hand side, where there's the hill, there was 1 picket as well. So the other side of the valley, 3 pickets, 1 picket.
Yeah.
And then what happened is when the firing happened on top of the hill, Clement sent people up the valley, and Delaray then attacked the camp. So the reinforcements that he sent up the hill had to come down the hill, and it was like chaos down there.
It'd take you all day to climb that hill, wouldn't it?
Well, up the gully, it's not. I mean, there's a path up there. You can't take ox wagon or guns up there. It's really just a single lane path.
Okay. And that's private farmland now, Alan said, so unfortunately we can't get any closer. I mean, if I was able to get up there at the battlefield, I'd be scratching around looking for British buttons or a bandolier or the occasional skull or something, but that's not going to happen. One can only dream, I suppose. This is this wildlife fencing again. It's probably, well, actually there's been vulture parks around here. I think Alan called them an usful, which is a vulture breeding and conservation program, and he was telling me for you carnivore lovers out there, there's a place you can sit and they dump a carcass for the vultures to feed, and you can observe them. I wanted to take it a step further and have you feeding with a feather apron on, while the vultures feasted. Oh, that's a beautiful view. Look at that. That is Nooitgedacht. Can you see the gap there? That's a valley with a river coming through. And what date was that, Alan?
13th of December 1900.
13th of December 1900. Would that have been the heaviest loss the British took around here, would you say?
Yes.
Yeah. It was a walloping. Now we're on the road where Smuts would have been coming along. Coordination with Delaray.
Okay, so that hill there that you can see, yeah, in front, the one right in front of you here. No? Yeah, you see?
Yeah, the smaller one, yeah.
Yes, that's it. That's called Yeomanry Hill.
Yeomanry Hill.
And that's where the Yeomanry were based. And Clement, once they'd attacked, the Boers had attacked the main camp, Clements went to Yeomanry Hill. Jan Smuts was supposed to occupy Yeomanry Hill but got lost. Apparently it was very, very dark that night.
Yeah.
And he got lost. And from there, Clements got the guns and the Yeomanry, and they started marching to Rietfontein, which now is at the end of the Magaliesberg, where we were this morning. So we've done a complete loop of this Magaliesberg.
I think what is hard for people to picture, and even for me, even though I'm here, is the size and grandeur of a battlefield. You know, that's why if you do wargaming, you've got a big table and you've got your little troops that you position. It's a huge, complex, almost a chess game to figure out who's where, and it's not like they're all clumped together in one place and one line, one convenient little camp. They're all, you know, any military commander protects his flanks. He positions scouts and pickets, and these are all things they've learnt in, you know, the military academy, whether it's Sandhurst or somewhere like that. They learn how you set up a camp to protect your flanks. So it's a real big panoramic vision to take in. Here's the other panoramic vision to take in, is all this garbage they seem to frolic around in, unfortunately. So we got out for a different view of Nooitgedacht.
You want to have a look at this first?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, let's do that.
And then you can,
yeah,
you can probably visualize it better.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so here you've got, there's the gorge there. Okay, on top of the hill over there, just to the right of the pylons, you've got 3 pickets. You've got in the middle, you've got 1 picket, and on this side you've got another picket. You've got the Boers here, so Beyers' camp. You've got Kemp, you've got Marais, you've got Van Staden, and you've got Krause. Each of those guys having about between 300 and 400 Boers attacking that position there. Clements' base camp was...
That's Clements.
Yeah, if you can see that ridge, that valley there, just come down to this hill in front of us here, and on the left hand side you can almost see a roof of a house.
Yeah,
got it. Yeah, that's where the camp was.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, this here is Yeomanry Hill. Okay, then what happened is Badenhorst was coming along here. Remember I told you about that green hill? Was just that side of the green hill. So it was between the Magaliesberg and the green hill, which is here. Delaray came along here to attack the camp. Smuts had to break off here along here and attack Yeomanry Hill, or they called it Valkorp.
We saw Yeomanry Hill, yeah.
Yeah, that's it there.
Yeah, that's Clements, Patsy. And that's Bayers. The iconic Nooitgedacht painting of the British heliograph and soldiers being forced off the cliff. What Alan said was they found a lot of bodies off the edge of that cliff, whether they'd been pushed or fell off when they were trying to escape or jumped. Wow.
Bayer's interesting character, which I will tell you about in the car just now.
Okay.
But that's Nooitgedacht, and that's
as good as it gets, guys. Yep. And you can see where those towers are. That's where the pickets were posted, and that's where they fell off the cliff in the fighting. These are the casualties.
So these are the pages of casualties. So this, if you can take it, this page, and then each of these are 33. So that's 1, 2. These were all guys who were captured. Or they weren't taken prisoner. They just. All right. Those are the guys who were wounded.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Okay, so there were nearly 200, 197 casualties.
Right. How many killed?
I think it was 67, but I can get that exact figure for you. I've got it at home.
That's a lot of men.
It absolutely is.
That's Nooitgedacht. The disaster that occurred to the Northumberland Fusiliers was witnessed by the New South Wales Army Medical Corps, which had joined General Clement's brigade at Nooitgedacht after having been at Krugersdorp. Writing from Olifants Nek on the 1st of January 1901, Private Frank Darby of the 2nd Contingent New South Wales Army Medical Corps tells of the role of the Corps there. Quote, "We had the worst experience and witnessed some of the most awful sights during the war. Clement's brigade was very weak, and he had been constantly applying for reinforcements as he was expecting to attack from the Boers in force. On the night of the 13th of December, he sent 4 companies of the Northumberland Fusiliers to hold a very large kopje about 100 yards on the west of the camp. The Boers during the night crept up to the kopje on the west side, to the numbers of about 2,000. At daybreak next morning rushed the pickets. The men who were in camp on the kopje turned out in quick time and fought like Britons. Boers and British were firing at each other at 7 yards distance, and in many instances the butts of the rifle were used. The British had very little hope, they being only 350 strong. In the meantime, the camp below was active, and men were rushing up to the kloof to the Northumberland Fusiliers' assistance, but on reaching the top were exhausted and were met with a hail of bullets from the enemy. While all this was proceeding, another large force of Boers attacked the lower camp from the south, and matters indeed became very serious. The guns were hurriedly taken out of the camp, also the big 4.7 gun and as many wagons as could be spanned. The British guns then opened fire on their own camp, which at this time was held by the Boers, and fighting lasted for some hours, when the British retired. The Boers looted all the stores, took most of the horses and cattle, and then burnt the wagons and tents, including the hospital tent. The British casualties amounted to about 390 men being killed, 250 also being taken prisoner. The Boer casualties were much heavier. They were 2 days carrying their wounded and dead off the battlefield. Next day the Boers gave the British permission to go out and attend to their wounded and bury their dead. Almost from the bottom of the kopje to the top was one continual string of dead and wounded. Some of them had as many as 7 bullets in them, and many of them had been hit with explosive bullets. Their sufferings could be imagined.
They were left on the field from the 14th to the 16th without any attention, and in many cases without food and water. They were all made comfortable by night, and next day they were all conveyed to Rietfontein. On the 19th, the dead were buried, and Clements was reinforced and again advanced on the Boer position. The enemy hung on very gamely to one, but after 5 or 6 hours of fighting, they were forced to retire with very heavy loss. The British loss was 3 killed and 13 wounded.
So there's no car coming on this ridge here behind us. Okay, is where the Boers were.
Yep, got it. You can see it.
Okay. So the Boers are on that ridge, and they are waiting for the British to come through here. This is one hill on the right-hand side.
Yep.
Which we've got. And then as we go along the road, you'll see another hill on the left-hand side.
Yep. Oh yeah.
There it is there. So these are the 2 hills. Oops. The guns came through the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want me to pull over here.
Skierpoort.
Okay, so the guns came through the middle of these 2 hills.
Yeah.
The Boers on top there shot the artillerymen, killed or wounded the whole lot of them.
Yeah.
The Gordon Highlanders, who were supposed to be in front, had been overtaken by the guns. So the Gordon Highlanders were pegged down behind this ridge and behind that ridge.
Yeah.
And that's where Younger and Gordon tried to take the guns.
Sure.
Whenever the Boers saw anybody, they'd fire, obviously. When the Boers came down from the hill to try and capture the guns at about 5 o'clock in the evening, that's when the Gordon Highlanders opened fire on the Boers and shot that guy Oosthuizen. Now, you can't see Spiernkop now, but Spiernkop is kind of just behind us there.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
And what? 2 VCs?
Two VCs. So the 2 VCs that were one year were Younger and Gordon from the Gordon Highlanders, and Private Mackay was recommended for a VC, but he had been recommended at the Battle of Doornkop, which was fought on the 30th of May, at the Battle of Johannesburg, and they put those 2 recommendations together, awarded him 1 VC for what he had done at Doornkop.
So, I don't suppose we can say with any definitive description exactly where the guns were, but you think they were about here?
No, the guns, we can say almost exactly. They were just over the bridge.
Oh wow.
So if you're on top of that, and I've been on top of that mountain, this unfortunately is private territory. You can see there are cows in there, so you can't get up there.
Yeah.
Because the guy's scared of leaving the gate open, visitors. But the guns, where this green patch is, that's where the guns were. You can see it very clearly.
That's
from
fantastic.
On top of the hill.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
And the Gordon Highlanders were just behind there, and every time they popped their head up, they got shot at. So they waited there almost the whole day. What happened, and if you read accounts, I've got an account of a diary from a guy called Duff, who was with the Gordon Highlanders. They had to wait for the Shropshires, and we're going to be going now where the supply convoy was halted and camped whilst this battle was going on. The Shropshires had to bring ammunition to the Gordons, who'd all run out of ammunition.
Do we know if the Gordons were wearing their kilts?
You know that they were wearing khaki kilts in
Yeah,
those days.
I do, yeah. Sorry, just say again, that little hill there,
Yeah.
anyone on top of there?
No, the Gordon Highlanders were behind there.
Yeah.
So the infantry were behind there and behind there. Not over on that side, but they were fairly close to the guns that were moving through here and waiting. They were obviously, they knew the Boers were up there, so they were going to shell the Boer position.
Yeah.
But the guns got in front of them, and before the guns could do anything, the Boers had taken out all the artillerymen.
What, you think a couple of guns or more?
They had, I'm going to say they had 3 guns, but
Yeah.
I'll check on that for you.
And they would have been pulled by mules?
Absolutely. Mules were killed as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. That green spot there, that truck's just gone past us where the VCs were won and the guns were saved. Because if you lost your guns, you really had to have a good excuse back to the HQ. They weren't impressed if you lost their guns. It was equivalent to losing the troop colours, Alan. And if you wanted to guarantee yourself a VC, try and save the guns.
There we go. They started firing with a pom-pom gun, and what happened is the Shropshire Light Infantry overpowered them then, so they had to retreat somewhere. So then the Shropshires occupied that hill.
Drove the Boers off, and Smith Dorrien was coming.
He was
up
coming
this road from Krugersdorp.
Yes.
Right. Stands out there all on its own, that hilltop. That's Krugersdorp in the distance, the mines.
Regarded with Jan Smuts as one of the founders of the Royal Air Force in the First World War.
I'm just going to give a brief summation. The fellow's name was Trenchard, did you say?
Trenchard,
Trenchard.
T-R-E-N-C-H-A-R-D.
And he served with who?
The Scottish Fusiliers.
Scottish Fusiliers. So he saw smoke coming out of a farmhouse, which is down there. It's not one of those buildings, but essentially he knew Boers had been there. So he went to investigate, and he was shot and paralysed from the waist downwards. He was sent back to Britain to convalesce, and what did you say? He went to Switzerland?
Switzerland, yeah.
So he went tobogganing in Switzerland and had an accident on the toboggan which set his spine straight again. So he was able to walk again.
Yes. Came back to South Africa as part of Kitchener's scouts.
He came back as part of Kitchener's Scouts, and he was fundamental in establishing the Air Force, did you say?
The First World War.
First World War South African Air Force.
No, Royal Air Force.
Oh, the Royal Air Force.
Yeah.
Okay.
So him and Smuts are credited with a few others as having identified the strategic value of an Air Force, bombing soldiers on the ground, and he was one of those guys. So he's credited with starting the Royal Air Force.
Well, we'll find a few pictures of him. What was his first name? Trenchard.
Yeah, look, if you just look at Trenchard.
Yeah, so we'll find it. But this is the place where he was paralysed during the Boer War. Okay.
And that on top of the hill, you can see that house. Just to the left of that house, there's a little indentation. That's where the Boers were at the first battle.
Great. Okay.